Hello and welcome back to the Time Rush YouTube channel. The other day I got to experience the HEX VIP behind the scenes experience at Alton Towers and it was fantastic, and in this video I'm going to be talking all about it and showing you what you can expect if you are planning on doing the experience. First of all, I'm going to quickly talk about what's included in the event and how much it all is. So the event costs £70, which is pretty pricey. And unfortunately, there's no annual pass discount, which is a bit strange because some of the Chessington ones, you get annual pass discount, but some of the Alton Towers ones you don't. I don't understand it at all. But even at £70, I would say it's definitely worth it. As you get the tour, which lasts about 2 hours. I think ours was actually 2.5 hours. You get a lot packed in. You get express parking on the day. You get a fast track for the ride on the day. You get a certificate and a lovely exclusive pin badge as well. So you get a certificate for completing the event. I got one of these for the Nemesis Reborn behind the scenes event as well. But these are really good quality. They're laminated, it's not paper, and they look fantastic as well. And then you got the pin badge, which is this one. So quick look at that. I think they look really, really nice. And you can't buy this in the shops. You have to go on the event to do it unless someone's selling one on eBay, but I definitely recommend just doing the event and getting one because they're absolutely fantastic, really exclusive and really nice as well. I think they look fantastic, yeah. So the event starts 45 minutes after park closure and the meeting point is just outside the entrance to the ride. We had a health and safety brief where we had to sign a form, and they also went through a few things with us, and they also gave us a bottle of water as well, which was incredible because it was so hot on this day. I was so thankful for this. It was a really nice touch. And we also got given this really, really nice printout, which one of the guys on the tour made. So everyone gets one of these. So if you book on, you'll get one of these. Absolutely fantastic. It's got a map of the actual ride, so you can see all the way through. Is it this way? Into the ride, and then this bit here is the show building for the ride. And then on the back, we've got some images of the construction of it. It's just really nicely done. Fantastic work to, I can't remember who it was who made it, but he's done a fantastic job with it. It's beautiful. So that'll be definitely going in my collection on my wall somewhere, like back there somewhere. Really happy with that. It's really nice, and it was nice to walk around and look at the pictures of the before and after, basically, because this is, you can see all the destroyed buildings and stuff like that in them pictures, and then you stood there looking at what they've done to restore these buildings. It's absolutely fantastic. We enter through the giant Gothic doors from the towers into the queue line, which is situated in the armory. It was really strange to see this queue line with the main lights on, because normally it's really dark and airy in here when you walk in. And a few cool details which I've never noticed was the large bell on the right hand side as you walk through the door. That is one of the bells which used to be situated in the tower somewhere. And then on the back of the door itself is a painting of the family's crest and motto, which again, you just never look at these things. You're just walking through the queue. Again, it's dark in there, so there's that as well. And you just don't turn around really and see these things, but I just think it's really cool. A lot of the lighting in here was updated when the ride went through a massive renovation in 2023. The TV screens were updated. They used to be the large old school TVs with the big backs, but now they're basically flat screens with a wooden box behind them just to give them the illusion of them still being old school. They did this basically just to improve the quality of the screen, because the videos on the screens on the old school ones, it wasn't great, so at least now they can have that old school look at them, but the better quality screens, so I thought that was really cool. And then another thing which I found really cool was these 14 statues that line the walls. Each one is a reference to the Earls of the family, and had a plaque underneath with information and the name of the Earl and stuff like that. And the funny thing is that underneath these cloths, they're actually Madame Tussauds wax figure bodies, which I thought was really interesting. And they haven't got any heads though, so the heads were taken off, and then they've got some sort of like rubber foam head replacement, which I found really funny. And also all the cobwebs and stuff and all the dust, most of it is actually fake. So when the ride opened, they put a lot of fake stuff. Obviously over time a lot of has been added, like the real stuff, but most of it is actually fake, which again, I always thought it was just left dirty because it just give that really cool effect, but no. A lot of it is fake. But yeah, this area, it was really nice to see it with the lights on and see all the detail and all the theming, which you don't see normally in the daytime. You really don't see it. We then made our way into the batching area, which is the first pre-show. This wall here didn't actually used to be there. It used to just be a turnstile and it was just all open. but they put this door in here in this fake wall when the ride went through its makeover in 2023. And that's basically just to make the room darker and more atmospheric, which it works. It's really good. I really like how they put this door in here. And there's some really cool details in this part, including the book on the desk that calls the Earl a madman. And there's some really cool theming around. The main part of this pre-show is the portrait of the Earl. So we actually got to experience the pre-show. They turned the lights off. They played the little audio clip where the portrait lights up, which I thought was really cool. I don't actually remember it having a pre-show in this area. When it used to be open, I just remember just being batched into this area and waiting for the next door to open. I don't know if this was added during 2023. I honestly can't remember it before that. I went on it plenty of times before 2023, but I just cannot remember this portrait being here. The portrait isn't original either. It was painted on park for the ride as well, so there's that. The host then told us about the operation, like the control panel, and we actually got to film this, which I was very surprised about. Normally with like any sort of panels and stuff, they tell you not to film it just for safety reasons. I don't really know. But they basically showed us how all the CCTV was updated, and they could see a lot more of the ride through the CCTV, which was definitely needed, just to help, not just to help if people are messing around, but it just helps for them to see which room's empty and if they can then send the next batch through and stuff like that. So yeah, all that was updated in 2023. After this part, we then move through the next set of doors into the cinema room, which is basically the main pre-show of the ride. In here we got to sit down, which was really nice because it was really hot this day. And we got to watch the iconic pre-show video, which actually got remastered during the ride's renovation. And it also includes a lot more lighting effects. Like in the video, there's a bit where the lightning comes and hits the tree, and there's lots of strobe lighting in this area now, and it's really, really cool. And just the whole lighting package is so much better than it used to be. But being able to sit down and watch it was just fantastic. It was just so, I had my back against the wall, and it was just so cool. It was really nice. I really did appreciate that. But there wasn't actually much in here to see, theming wise. It's basically just a bit of an empty room with that big screen at the end. So we didn't stay in here for too long. So we did move through into the next bit, which for me was probably the coolest bit, which is the octagon. So we went through the next set of doors, which struck us into the octagon. This part of the tour, for like what I just said, is really, really interesting, and there's a lot in here to see. Before HEX was built, this area was completely destroyed. It didn't have a roof. During the construction of HEX, the octagon received the most work, so the central column you can see here was restored fully, and a new roof put on. Underneath these steps here as well, which are the steps you go into the next area, there's actually some original semicircle steps under here, but they just didn't pass the health and safety. So Alton Towers had to build some proper steps on top of them, basically. But I never knew there were steps under there, which again is really cool to know all these facts and to find out all these things. It's something that what these tours are all about, and that's why I definitely recommend it, because you'll definitely learn something. You don't realise how much theming is in this area as well. There's these really cool tombs, which I've never noticed before, because I normally stand on the left-hand side near the witch. So I've never really seen these tombs, but yeah, they're over there. There's loads of them. Again, they're not real. They were built for the ride. The whole area had like a haze to it, and that's due to a haze machine which is situated behind these curtains. And then you can obviously see the witch up there as well. Whilst I was in this area, they played the pre-show as well, which is one of my favourite areas. I just love how all the lights cut off, and then the generator kicks in, and the spark machine, and then the lights come back on, and you got the witch all lit up. Yeah, it's definitely my favourite part of HEX, I think. And like all the other areas, this area had a huge overhaul in 2023, including lots of new lighting effects. That's the main thing that was updated with the ride, the lighting, but it is so much better now. It really is fantastic. And at the top of the stairs is a bookcase, which in the story is the entrance to the hidden vault. Obviously, that bit isn't real. That bookcase was put in, obviously. They had to actually knock down a bit of wall to get through, because the towers didn't go that way. The towers go straight on, so they had to... The actual ride itself is in a show building, so to get from the towers to the show building, they had to knock a bit of the wall out, and they could only do this if they kept every single brick, so that if the ride ever closed, they could put that brick back together like a big Lego set basically and seal it back up, which I thought was absolutely incredible. And all the bricks that were actually used out of that wall, they're just scattered around this area. You can see them all here, they're just scattered on the floor. So yeah, if HEX ever does close, which I hope it doesn't, they could just get all them bricks and reseal it up, which again, I had no clue about that. I obviously knew that the ride was in a show building, but I just thought there was an actual door there that they could just go through. I didn't know they had to like knock through some of the wall to get there. So yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. I thought that was really, really cool. That was probably the fact of the whole thing for me. I never knew anything about that. The host also told us that the attic scare maze, which was situated in the towers, has been cleared out. It won't return this year, and they managed to salvage quite a few props and dot them around HEX, including the suit of armour, which is lying in the rubble. Again, I'm really, really happy that Alton Towers are doing this, because in the past, they would close a ride and then they'll just scrap everything. Like, if you watch Theme Park Worldwide, you know that here's the Bookworm, which used to be in CBeebies Land. It used to be in its own little land before CBeebies Land. And they basically just ripped it out and just put it in a skip. And Sean from Theme Park Worldwide saved that. And a few years ago, they used to do that so much, but it's so nice to hear that they're recycling old props and putting them in the Curse of Alton Manor, into HEX. They're just dotting them around and reusing, which is excellent. And it just means every time you go in, there's something new. It's like every time I go in HEX now, I'm going to be seeing it so differently because of this tour. And I'm going to be able to see, like, point to my friends, oh, you see them tombs there? And that suit of armour that used to be in the attic. And it would just be so nice to, as well, is to, every time I go in, is something new that I can maybe see. And which they could be, because they are putting new stuff in here, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. We then made our way through the bookcase and into the tunnel, which is the entrance into the show building. And you can definitely tell the difference in temperature as you enter this area. The towers are very cold, and then as soon as you go in the show building, the temperature gets really hot. Obviously, it's a big shed. That's literally, you go from the towers, which is like a stone building, into a big metal shed, and you can definitely tell the temperature difference. Also, if you bang on the walls in this area, you can feel how hollow it all is. It's not real brick, it's all fiberglass. It's made to look like stone. But they did such a fantastic job with this, because it does look... If you didn't go on this tour, or if you didn't know anything about HEX, if you didn't know like anything about the towers, you would think you're still in the towers. That's how good the theming is. We then got to take selfies in front of this large crest, which is just the part before you go into the ride area. And a fun fact about this crest as well, it also features in the Gangster Granny ride. They shrunk it down and they remade one, and it's dotted somewhere in there, so I'm going to have to go on Gangster Granny soon and have a look at that. And yeah, after everyone stood taking selfies and pictures, we then moved into the next area. I'm making it out like you rush through this entire experience, but it was far from that. You get a good amount of time in each section, and they do ask you if you're ready to move on. I'm just obviously trying to make the video as quick and easy for you guys to watch, so that's why I'm kind of going through it like this. But the actual event is 2.5 hours, so yeah, you get plenty of time in each of it. In this part, you were then split up into two groups. One went into the ops cabin, and the other, which was my group, we got to go into the drum cellar, which is the main part of the tour and one of the reasons I booked it. In here, you can see how the actual ride works. If you're unfamiliar with HEX, it's basically a Vekoma Mad House attraction. You basically sit on a bench inside a giant washing machine drum. The bench you're sat on slowly rotates 15 degrees clockwise and 15 degrees anti-clockwise over and over again. So you're basically just on a really slow swing, which only goes 15 degrees. It doesn't go too fast. But whilst this is happening, the whole room around you is spinning. That can spin a full 360 degrees. So the actual drum rotates 3.5 times one way and then 3.5 times the other way, which is really cool. But so with the actual motion of the bench that you're sat on going 15 degrees up and down, and the room spinning, it just gives you that illusion that you're going upside down, even though you're definitely not going upside down. And I love going on HEX and seeing people's reactions, like, oh my god, we're upside down, but we've only got a lap bar. And it's just so interesting to see how people think like that. But that's how the ride is meant to be. It's meant to make you think that. And it does a great job. You definitely do feel you're going upside down. It's one of them rides, if you're motion sick, I definitely don't recommend it, because it does play with your head and it does make you feel a bit dizzy. But it was just so cool to see it from the other side and see this massive drum. It's huge. It's honestly, it's so huge. And the actual roof of the show building could come off just in case you have to take that drum out, even though the drum was built inside it. It was built into parts, a bit like a Lego set. It was just all put together inside here. And then the whole actual drum is situated on like a tire, so it's like tire driven. So these sets of tires will like turn it, and it'll just make the whole structure turn, which is, it's honestly, it's so fascinating to see. And you stay in this area for a good 20 minutes. You can ask any questions you would like. Our hosts were absolutely fantastic at answering questions. They could tell you everything, and you could definitely tell that they loved the attraction as well, which is great to see. We then made our way out of the drum cellar and into the ops cabin. We weren't actually allowed to film any of this, so I'll keep this quite brief. But in here, basically, you're just shown all the ride CCTV screens, the announcements, and the buttons, basically, to operate the ride. So there's not much really to talk about this. You're in here for about 15 to 20 minutes. The final part of the tour was inside the ride itself. We got to sit down while they played the music of the actual ride, the lighting and the special effects. The ride weren't actually moving, and the lap bars weren't down, but they actually played the whole package of it. And we could actually stand up as well, so you could actually stand up and you can see all the theming, you can see all the lighting. It was honestly fantastic. There's so much in here that you just don't see, like all the flickering candles, the pictures, the theming. Most of the theming was actually redone, because before it was proper objects. So like, for example, they'll say, yeah, we'll get that book and put it in there. But weight was a real issue, so they had to redo it all, and they replaced it all with fiberglass versions of it, just to help with the weight, because obviously the ride was breaking down a lot, and you need to imagine how much weight is inside that drum, and it is only powered by tyres to make it go around. So the heavier the drum, the more often it will break down. So they did replace quite a lot of that with fiberglass stuff, which I thought was really, really cool. But it was just really nice to see all the lights and experience the ride without the ride actually moving. I thought there was a really nice touch to the experience. It was something different, because obviously we have to go on the ride and you have to be on the ride, and the ride has to be going to be able to see all the effects and stuff. But to actually just sit down and just take in the music, the effects, the sounds, the lighting, it was just fantastic without the ride moving. I thought this was absolutely fantastic, and it was definitely a highlight. This and the Octagon were probably my highlights. But yeah, the tour was absolutely fantastic. After this, the hosts thanked us all. We thanked them because they were absolutely fantastic. And then you make your way out through the exit tunnel and escorted back to your car park, which is obviously parked on the express car park, and you get that included. The whole event from start to finish was excellent. The hosts were extremely warm and welcoming, and the fact that you can go behind the scenes of one of the UK's most iconic dark rides is something that every theme park fan needs to do. I highly recommend it. Make sure you book it though, because it will sell out. I'll leave a link down in the description as well. But thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you're new around here, please subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.